Hi, welcome to Robin's house. Today we're going to be making this adorable little purse. It's a 3D from the Cricut, 3D item box, favor, however you want to use it. Put some candy in there, you got a perfect little present for a friend. I'm using the Girls Rock stamp set and 4 ink colors. I got cotton candy, olive, sunset, and black. And then we're also going to use the cotton candy marker. And this one is the... Okay, so in your kit, we've got some, you can hardly see those on there, some artisan square or studs. And some Velcro. This is where you'll stamp on this, stamp your leaves, and your little purse. And so when I'm going to use a gel pen. You can use any white gel pen that you have. If you don't have a gel pen, but you have an embossing pen, you could always emboss the little stitches. The embossing pens work really well for that. So it's easier if you get an extra piece of white paper. Well, I guess it's easier because I'm working on a black thing, but also it's easier to find your outlines if you put something behind it. But I've already stitched a bunch of mine, just so it takes a little bit of a long time. And then I've also, before you stitch it, it will help if you bend your little flappies, just to kind of pronounce where your box ends, so you're not ending up stitching over here or somewhere. And to stitch, I need my little white paper back. Depending on your gel pen or white pen of some sort, my pen kind of makes me color back and forth at first. But basically you just form your little stitches. My gel pen makes me color back and forth, but it does give it a nice white stitch without any blocks or missing ink. There we go. So we've got all our stitches. I'm going to set it to the side to let it kind of dry, although this particular pen dries really fast. It's a Uniball, I guess. It dries pretty quick. Okay, so now we can stamp. And I use my cotton candy to stamp the flower. And then while I have this stamp already here, I need to stamp one in sunset color because I'm going to punch out the little center, so we have a different look on our flower. But since all I need is the little punch out, I'm only going to stamp way over to the side and then wipe the rest off. And then I also need to stamp the word love out of black. But there's plenty of room here if you want to stamp a little bit more of the flower so you don't get it all over your table. And then the 2 olive leaves. These Cricut shapes are so handy because now I don't have to cut these guys out. They're already done for me. Alright, so there's that. And I have a little 5/8 punch, so I'm just going to punch this little guy out. And it just happens to fit him almost perfect. And then you just cut out the letters. I've already done that in advance, so you don't have to wait for me. And now we're ready to assemble our box. So we've got everything, and make sure all your flappies are up and in. And then I'm gonna, before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down just so I can make sure I can push it down enough without hurting my little box. This is the little polka dot pattern from Claire. Okay, well, that's all the basic things we can put together the box. Yay. So before you glue anything, you want to make sure you put it together and you understand how it goes. You want it to match up. So I'm going to try to get these little arm sides to match as close as possible so that I don't have to do any trimming. And that means that the bottoms will be a little less perfect, but that's just fine because that's how boxes go. So I am going to put a little bit of glue, and then you also need to decide which one is your front. So this is obviously your front because it has a thing on it, so don't put glue on this side. You want to put glue on this side. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the flappy just so I can make it attach so it doesn't leave a little hole. If you put something small in there, it could tumble right out of the little hole at the bottom. So I want to fasten mine up. Okay. So then you make sure that the little flaps are in, and then that these are also in. So I'm going to move these over those, and then I'm going to move my front pieces over the one with the glue, and then I'm going to kind of just push it down here and then pinch it in the insides as well. And so I'm also pinching that little flap at the bottom to make sure that every piece, and then look, I put a little too much glue on here, so make sure that you don't. But it dries clear, so it's not the end of the world. Somehow one side of mine popped up. I don't want it to pop. Oh, that's because this one grabbed it. Let go of me. Alright, so this time I'll have to pay more attention. Maybe glue one side at a time. I don't know if that would make a difference or not. This side came out perfect, and this side was being a stinker. Alright, so now we have our front side and a nice clean edge over here, just a nice fold. And then all of our seams are facing towards the back. And we know it's also the back because you want your little belt guy, which I should have mentioned before, you want your belt guy to come to the front. And then we're also going to need enough of the belt to come down here. So bend it over and then bend this side over also. See, there we have a little flap for our purse. And then I have to clean up my little flower a little bit. Okay. Alright, so we punched this out and we punched that out. So now I'm going to pop it so that it pops up. There we go. And I can start putting things on I'm going to take my cotton candy marker, and I'm going to color in the little heart from love. There we go. And then the leaves, I'm going to bend the leaves kind of right at their little, or somewhere near it. Haha. Alright, and now it would be easiest for me, I think, if I go ahead and put my little studs down. And then I can pop my little words. I'm going to put a little tiny one. Alrighty, so I can put that little word down. Alright, and now I'm ready for my little flowers and my leaves. I'm going to put my stud on here. And see where I want to put my leaves and my... Okay, so I'm just going to put some glue at the front of the leaf. I'm going to put it just up here. And then I'll take my flower. See that? That'll be just as good as anywhere. Put that sideways, kind of knock these guys down a little bit, and then I'll pop the flower just a smidge. There we go. And finally, I just have my little Velcro, and I smush them together before I put them on. And that way, and then I put it in the flap. So it has a nice, enough around all of it. And then I'll take the other side off. And these are quite sticky. And then you can just take it and decide where you need it to go and press it down. That way you know that your sides will touch and they're both in the right spot. And there's my little box. So thank you very much for playing today. I hope you have a great day.